going to test your nerdy knowledge with some of the best kept secrets of the superhero world. I hope you're ready. 10. Batman was Robin. Batman was actually the first Robin. It's hard to believe considering it's such a large part of Dick Grayson's story today that he was the first, but back in the early days of comics, it was revealed that the Robin started with Bruce Wayne. He took up the Robin mantle based on the bird when he worked with his mentor Harvey Harris. Harris was actually the one that gave him that nickname due to his intelligence. Of course, this whole thing has been long retconned out of existence now. 9. Hulk had a vampire era. Well, not really. He just used to be gray and only came out at night. Everything else about the Hulk still applied, like his general stature, his strength, and his abilities. This night-only thing, it didn't last very long, nor did the ashy tone, and pretty soon the Hulk's transformations had less to do with where the sun was and everything to do with Bruce Banner's emotions. 8. DC's first black solo series superhero. DC almost made a huge mistake when it came to their first black superhero, a mistake so bad that one of their writers begged the company to let them come up with something less offensive. DC's first black superhero was nearly Black Bomber, a white man that didn't like other races that would turn into the superhero version of himself whenever he yelled Black Power. The superhero was a black man that wore a basketball uniform, and the two personalities had no idea the other existed, apparently. And if the hero saved a person of color, the white half would wake up disgusted. And genuinely, they almost let this go to print. Thank God it didn't happen. 7. Where did Kryptonite come from? Kryptonite's origin is something that you would never expect. Back in the 1940s, superhero radio shows were wildly popular. They were the audiobooks of their time. The thing is they were live and actors needed time off, so stories were introduced that didn't need to feature Superman. And that's how the concept of Superman's biggest weakness came about. It wasn't until about 6 years after that it was officially introduced in the comics, but hey, it stuck around. And I originally researched this because I thought that the absolute Superman had a really cool origin for Kryptonite forming, it being the rotted remains of Krypton, and I couldn't believe that that wasn't the original origin story, and this was. 6. Galactus. Galactus takes a different form for every race that sees him, so that purple armor-clad giant isn't really what he looks like, that's just how the human brain can comprehend him. And I have to say that we got pretty lucky because some versions of him are 10 times scarier. As the only being that came from the 6th cosmos into the 7th, and is destined to be the one to pass the power from the 8th to the 9th, it makes sense that he is more abstract than concrete. 5. Batman and his golden rule. Batman used to use lethal methods when he deemed it necessary. Batman is known today for having the most deranged villains that he absolutely refuses to kill, believing it's a line that he just can't cross. Violent actions weren't favored by the public at the time that Batman was getting popular, so he was forced to stop. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I would rather deal with people talking circles about Batman's golden rule than have to deal with DC making up increasingly weirder ways the Joker gets revived every time they want to add him to a news story. 4. Jay Garrick and hard water. In my favorite Flash origin story, the Speedster got his powers from inhaling hard water fumes. That's right, the water high in mineral content could give someone the power to run so fast they can reverse time, in the Golden Age at least. Technically, it was the fumes, but still. It's been suggested that this ridiculous origin originated from someone mixing up hard water and heavy water. Heavy water is used in nuclear power plants. It isn't the most dangerous substance on Earth, but it can be slightly radioactive and denser. 3. Black Bolt's name. Black Bolt's name was Black Bolt. He didn't have a real name until a Marvel writer, compiling a handbook, decided to give him one. I mean, how hard did that writer try considering the name in question became Blackagar Boltagon? I mean, considering that Black Bolt is already a very public figure as a leader, it's not like he wants a secret identity, but still. 2. Alfred's job. Most modern fans think of Alfred Pennyworth as a permanent fixture in the Wayne family, a father figure to Bruce as he grew up without a parental figure. But that wasn't always the case. In fact, early versions of the character were hired simply to be his position, just a butler taking care of the manor, while Bruce was cared for by an uncle or sent to boarding schools. The more hands-on approach that many agree fits the narrative better was introduced by Frank Miller, and we thank him every day for it. And 1. Spider sewing. Okay, so this one is kind of cheating because it's more of a theory than an actual fact, but it is really interesting. Spider-Man famously has spider abilities proportional to the human body, and one thing that spiders are good at: weaving. Spider-Man has a secret power, super sewing. It would explain why all Peters are able to create such a good suit and mend it despite rarely showing that Peter attended home ec classes. In reality, even if he didn't get proportional weaving abilities, his hand-eye coordination certainly improved, which has to help that task. I just think it's a fun theory that would explain a lot about the character. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, nerds!